The small creature was making soft crying sounds when Dr. Lisa Morgan first saw it. She stopped walking and held up her hand to signal the rest of her team. The research vessel Frontier had landed on the planet 3 days ago, and they were still collecting samples of the local wildlife. "What is it?" Jake Collins asked, adjusting his scanner. He was the team's junior researcher and always eager to find something new. "Look over there," Lisa whispered, pointing to a cluster of blue rocks about 50 feet away. "Behind those crystals." Amy Foster raised her binoculars and studied the area. "I see it. Small, maybe 2 feet long. Looks like it has scales and... Are those wings?" Lisa moved closer, her boots crunching softly on the sandy ground. The creature was unlike anything they had seen so far on this world. It had a long neck, 4 legs, and small wings that looked too tiny to lift its body. Its scales were a deep purple color that seemed to change to blue in the sunlight. Most interesting of all, it appeared to be in pain. "Stay back, Lisa," Commander Pete Davis called out. He was the team leader and always worried about safety. "We don't know if it's dangerous." But Lisa was already moving forward slowly. She had been a veterinarian on Earth before becoming a xenobiologist, and she could see the signs of distress in any creature. The small dragon-like being was pawing at its mouth with one of its front legs. Its breathing was quick and shallow. "It's hurt," she said softly. "Look at how it's acting." "Could be a trap," Rick Taylor suggested. He was Lisa's research partner and usually supported her decisions, but he was also cautious. Some animals pretend to be injured to lure prey. Lisa knelt down about 10 feet from the creature. It looked at her with large, intelligent eyes that seemed almost human-like. The eyes were a bright gold color and held what looked like sadness. "Hey there, little one," Lisa said in a gentle voice. "What's wrong?" The creature tilted its head and made a soft chirping sound. It stopped pawing at its mouth for a moment, as if listening to her voice. "Lisa, be careful," Nina Roberts warned. She was the team's behavioral specialist and had been studying the creature's movements. "Its body language suggests it's in significant distress." "That's exactly why I need to help it," Lisa replied. She reached into her field kit and pulled out a small medical scanner. "I'm going to try to see what's wrong." The creature watched as Lisa slowly moved closer. When she was about 5 feet away, it made a sound that was almost like a whimper. Lisa could see that its mouth was slightly open, and there appeared to be something wrong with its teeth. "Commander, I think this creature has a dental problem," Lisa said, not taking her eyes off the small dragon. "Look at how it's holding its mouth." Pete Davis moved up behind her, his hand resting on his sidearm. "Even if that's true, we can't risk it. We don't know anything about these creatures." "But we could learn," Lisa said. "If I can help it, maybe. It will trust us. This could be our chance to study them up close." The creature made another soft sound and took a small step toward Lisa. She held out her hand slowly, palm up, the way she used to approach frightened animals back on Earth. "Easy, little one," she whispered. "I just want to help." Jake Collins was recording everything with his camera. "This is incredible," he said quietly. "It's almost like it understands her." The creature sniffed the air near Lisa's hand, then carefully touched her palm with its nose. Its skin felt warm and slightly rough, like leather that had been left in the sun. "Can you open your mouth for me?" Lisa asked, knowing the creature probably couldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would be reassuring, to everyone's surprise. The creature did exactly that. It opened its mouth wide, revealing several rows of small, sharp teeth. Even from a distance, the team could see that some of the teeth were discolored and appeared to be infected. "My God," Amy Foster breathed. "Those teeth look terrible." "Infected," Lisa confirmed, moving even closer. "Probably very painful. No wonder it's in distress." The creature allowed Lisa to examine its mouth more closely. She could see that several teeth were broken or rotting, and the gums around them were swollen and red. "This is fascinating," Rick Taylor said, making notes on his tablet. "It's allowing her to perform what is essentially a medical examination." "The question is," Nina Roberts added, "can we do anything to help it?" Lisa looked back at her team. "I have some basic dental tools in my medical kit. If this were a dog or cat on Earth, I would try to remove the infected teeth." "Absolutely not," Commander Davis said firmly. "We're not veterinarians to alien creatures. We're here to observe and collect samples." "But Pete," Lisa argued, "this could be the breakthrough we've been looking for. If I can help this creature, it might lead to better contact with others of its species." The creature seemed to sense their discussion and made a soft pleading sound. It looked directly at Lisa with those intelligent golden eyes. "It's almost like it knows we're talking about helping it," Jake Collins observed. Lisa made her decision. "Commander, I'm going to try to help this creature. If it goes wrong, that's on me. But I can't just watch it suffer when I might be able to do something." Pete Davis looked at the creature, then at Lisa, then back at the creature. After a long moment, he nodded. "All right, but we do this carefully. Everyone stays alert." Lisa smiled and turned back to the small dragon. "Okay, little one, let's see if we can make you feel better." Lisa set up her makeshift treatment area in the cargo bay of the Frontier. She had moved several supply boxes to create a clean workspace and laid out her dental tools on a sterile cloth. The small dragon creature sat quietly on a soft blanket, watching her every move with its bright golden eyes. "Are you sure about this?" Rick Taylor asked for the third time. He stood nearby with a camera, ready to record the procedure. "We've never done surgery on an alien before." "It's not really surgery," Lisa explained, checking her tools one more time. "Just a tooth extraction. I've done thousands of these on Earth animals." The creature made a soft chirping sound, as if responding to their conversation. Over the past hour, it had shown remarkable intelligence. When Lisa had gestured for it to follow her to the ship, it had understood immediately. When she had pointed to the blanket, it had climbed onto it without hesitation. "The local anesthetic should work," Lisa continued, filling a small syringe. "The creature's mouth structure is similar enough to Earth mammals that the injection points should be the same." Commander Pete Davis watched from the doorway, his arms crossed. "If this goes wrong, we're leaving the planet immediately. I won't risk the safety of this team for one animal." "It's not just one animal," Amy Foster said, looking at her tablet. "I've been analyzing the data from our surveys. These creatures are everywhere on this continent. And from what I can tell, they all seem to have the same dental problems." Lisa approached the creature slowly. "Hey there, little one. I'm going to help you feel better, okay?" The creature tilted its head and made a gentle sound that almost sounded like agreement. Lisa carefully lifted its upper lip to expose the infected teeth. The smell was terrible, and she could see pus around the gum line. "This is going to hurt a little at first," she said softly, preparing the injection, "but then it will feel much better." The creature held perfectly still as Lisa injected the anesthetic around the infected tooth. It flinched slightly but didn't try to pull away or bite her. "Incredible," Jake Collins whispered. "It's like it knows she's trying to help." While they waited for the anesthetic to take effect, Lisa noticed something interesting. The creature was making soft sounds, almost like it was trying to communicate. The sounds had a pattern to them, like a simple language. "Nina, are you getting this?" Lisa asked. Nina Roberts was recording the sounds with her equipment. "Yes, and it's fascinating. The vocalizations have distinct patterns. It's almost like it's trying to talk to you." After 10 minutes, Lisa tested the area around the infected tooth with a small probe. The creature didn't react, which meant the anesthetic was working. "Okay, here we go," Lisa said, picking up her extraction forceps. The procedure took about 15 minutes. The infected tooth was badly damaged and had to be removed in pieces. Throughout the entire process, the creature remained calm and still. Its eyes never left Lisa's face, as if it understood that she was helping it. "Got it," Lisa said finally, holding up the last piece of the rotten tooth. "That should feel much better." The creature immediately seemed more relaxed. It closed its mouth and made a sound that could only be described as relief. "Look at its behavior," Rick Taylor said, still recording. "The change is immediate. It's not pawing at its mouth anymore." Lisa cleaned the extraction site and applied a healing gel that should work on most biological tissue. "There you go, little one. All done." The creature surprised everyone by gently touching Lisa's hand with its nose, then making a series of soft chirping sounds that sounded almost like gratitude. "I think it's saying thank you," Amy Foster said with amazement. Over the next few hours, the team watched as the creature's behavior continued to change. It became more active and alert. It began exploring the cargo bay, examining their equipment with obvious curiosity. Most surprisingly, it started trying to use simple tools. "Look at this," Jake Collins called out. The creature had picked up a small wrench and was using it to tap against different surfaces, listening to the sounds it made. "That's not random behavior," Nina Roberts observed. "It's experimenting, testing different materials to see what sounds they make." By evening, word had spread among the team about the successful procedure. Other crew members came to see the small dragon, and it seemed to enjoy the attention. It would respond to its name when Lisa called it Little One, and even appeared to recognize different team members. "We need to catch more of them," Lisa said during their evening briefing. "If this condition is affecting the entire population, we could help them all." "But should we?" Commander Davis asked. "We're supposed to observe, not interfere with natural processes." "This isn't natural," Rick Taylor argued. "Look at the data Amy collected. The tooth decay is too severe and too widespread. This might be the result of some environmental change that their evolution hasn't caught up with yet." The next morning, Lisa and her team went out to find more of the creatures. Little One came with them, seeming to understand that they were looking for others like it. The creature led them to a small valley where dozens of its kind lived together. "They're social," Nina Roberts noted. "Look how they interact with each other." The creatures lived in simple shelters they had built from rocks and vegetation. They had created tools from sticks and stones. Most importantly, they all showed signs of the same dental problems that had affected Little One. "They're not just animals," Lisa realized. "They're intelligent. They have a society, they make tools, they communicate with each other. This is a sapient species." Little One approached the others and began making a series of complex sounds. The other creatures gathered around, listening intently. Then several of them approached Lisa, making the same gentle chirping sounds that Little One had made. "I think Little One is telling them about the treatment," Amy Foster said. "It's recommending us to them." One by one, the creatures began approaching Lisa. They would open their mouths and point to their infected teeth, clearly asking for help. "Well," Lisa said, looking at her team, "I guess we're going to be busy." By the end of the week, Lisa had treated nearly 50 creatures. Each one showed the same remarkable intelligence that Little One had displayed. They learned to use new tools, they communicated in complex patterns, and they began showing Lisa and her team things they had never seen before. "Commander," Lisa said during their final briefing, "I think we need to stay longer. These creatures are trying to show us something important." Little One had been acting strangely all day, making urgent sounds and gesturing toward the mountains. Several other creatures were doing the same thing. "They want us to follow them somewhere," Rick Taylor observed. Pete Davis looked at the creatures, then at his team. "All right, but we go carefully, and we stick together." As they prepared to follow the creatures deeper into the unknown terrain, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to discover something that would change everything. They thought they knew about this planet and its inhabitants. The journey to the mountains took 2 days. Little One and 12 other creatures led the way, moving with purpose through rocky paths that seemed impossible to follow. Lisa and her team struggled to keep up, but the small dragons waited patiently. Whenever the humans fell behind, "They definitely know where they're going," Jake Collins panted, wiping sweat from his forehead. The mountain air was thin and the climb was steep. "Look at how they move," Nina Roberts observed, recording their behavior. "They're not just wandering, this is a planned route." Rick Taylor checked his scanner as they walked. "The energy readings are getting stronger. There's definitely something artificial up ahead." Commander Pete Davis kept his weapon ready, though he hadn't seen any signs of danger. "Stay alert, everyone. We don't know what we're walking into." As they climbed higher, the landscape around them began to change. The rough mountain stone gave way to smooth, polished surfaces that reflected the sunlight like mirrors. Strange symbols were carved into the rock faces, too complex to be natural formations. "These aren't random markings," Amy Foster said, studying the symbols with her tablet. "They're writing some kind of language." Little One made excited chirping sounds and ran ahead to a massive wall of what looked like crystal. The wall was perfectly smooth and stretched up higher than they could see. Other creatures gathered around it, making urgent sounds. "What are they trying to tell us?" Lisa wondered aloud. Suddenly, the crystal wall began to glow with a soft blue light. The symbols carved into it became brighter, and Lisa could hear a low humming sound coming from deep within the mountain. "Energy spike," Rick Taylor announced, watching his instruments. "Something big just activated." The wall split open down the middle, revealing a tunnel that led into the heart of the mountain. The walls inside were covered with the same crystal material, providing a gentle light that made it easy to see. "It's a door," Lisa breathed. "They have technology." Little One looked back at the humans and made encouraging sounds, then walked into the tunnel. The other creatures followed, clearly expecting the humans to come with them. "Should we?" Jake Collins asked, staring into the glowing passage. "We've come this far," Commander Davis decided. "But we go slowly and carefully." The tunnel led them deep into the mountain. The walls were covered with more symbols, and Lisa began to notice that some of them looked like pictures of the small creatures they had been helping. But in these pictures, the creatures were much larger. "Rick, look." At this, she called, pointing to one of the images. "These symbols show creatures that look like Little One, but they're huge." "Maybe it's just artistic," Rick suggested, but he didn't sound convinced. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber that took their breath away. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness, and the walls were covered with glowing crystals that provided light throughout the space. But what amazed them most were the creatures that filled the chamber. They were dragons, but not small ones like Little One. These dragons were enormous, some as large as buildings. They had the same purple-blue scales and golden eyes, but their wings were massive and their necks stretched up toward the ceiling. There were hundreds of them, all gathered in the great chamber. "My God," Amy Foster whispered. "Little One isn't an adult. It's a baby." The giant dragons noticed the humans immediately. Several of them lowered their huge heads to get a better look at the tiny visitors. Lisa felt very small and vulnerable, but she also noticed something important. "They're in pain too," she said. Quietly, "Look at how they're holding their mouths." She was right. The giant dragons showed the same signs of dental distress that the small ones had displayed. Some had their mouths slightly open, others were pawing at their faces with their claws. The infection that affected the young ones was clearly much worse in the adults. Little One ran to one of the giant dragons and began making rapid chirping sounds. The large dragon lowered its head and listened carefully, then looked at Lisa with what seemed like interest. I think little one is telling them about the treatment, Lisa said. More dragons gathered around, and Lisa could hear them making sounds. To each other. The voices of the giant dragons were deeper than the small ones, but they had the same musical quality. Captain Steve Miller, who had been quiet during the climb, finally spoke. Lisa, I think they're trying to communicate with us. One of the largest dragons, whose scales were darker than the others, and whose eyes held ancient wisdom, approached the humans. It moved slowly and carefully, clearly not wanting to frighten them. That one looks old, Kate Brown observed. Maybe it's their leader. The ancient dragon stopped about 20 feet from the humans and made a series of complex sounds. The voice was deep and rich, and Lisa found herself thinking of it as singing rather than talking. It's beautiful, she said softly. Little one ran back to Lisa and began making urgent sounds, then ran to the ancient dragon and back again. It's trying to introduce us, Nina Roberts realized. Little one is acting as a translator. The ancient dragon seemed to understand. It made another series of sounds, softer this time, and Lisa felt sure it was trying to greet them. Hello, she said, feeling a bit foolish but not knowing what else to do. The dragon's eyes widened, and it made a sound that could only be described as pleased surprise. It turned to the other dragons and made rapid sounds that caused an excited murmur throughout the chamber. They understand us, Rick Taylor said in amazement. They know we're intelligent. Over the next hour, a remarkable scene unfolded. The dragons began showing the humans their civilization. They had built structures from crystal and stone, created art from precious metals, and developed technology that seemed to work through some kind of harmonic resonance. But everywhere Lisa looked, she could see the effects of their dental problems. The dragons moved slowly, ate very little, and many seemed to be in constant pain. The civilization that should have been thriving was instead struggling to survive. They're dying, Lisa realized with horror. The infection is killing them. Little one seemed to understand her words and made sad sounds. The ancient dragon approached again, this time even closer. It opened its massive mouth, revealing teeth that were in terrible condition. Some were completely black with infection. Others were broken or missing entirely. They want me to help them, Lisa said, looking at her team. But I don't know if I can. They're so much larger than the little ones. The ancient dragon made more sounds, and Lisa was surprised to hear something that sounded almost like words mixed in with the musical tones. Help, the dragon said in a voice like distant thunder. Please help, Lisa stared in shock. The dragon had spoken in English. You can talk, she said. Little, the dragon replied with obvious effort. Pain makes ... thinking hard. Little ones ... you helped. Now they think clear. We hope you help us too. Lisa looked around the chamber at hundreds of suffering dragons, then back at her small medical kit. The task seemed impossible, but she knew she had to try. I'll do everything I can, she promised. The ancient dragon's eyes filled with something that looked like tears of relief. Thank you, small healer. Thank you. Lisa stared at her small medical kit and then at the enormous dragon waiting for her help. The ancient dragon's mouth was the size of a small room, and its teeth were as big as her arms. Her tiny dental tools looked like toys in comparison. I need bigger equipment, she said to her team. Much bigger. Rick Taylor was already thinking ahead. We have the fabrication unit on the ship. If we can scale up your tools, we might be able to make something that works. But we don't know how. Their biology works at this size, Amy Foster pointed out. The anesthetic might not be strong enough, or it could be too much and hurt them. The ancient dragon had been listening to their conversation. We help, it said slowly, its voice echoing through the chamber. Our healers ... work with you. We learn together. Several smaller dragons approached, though they were still much larger than the humans. These dragons moved differently than the others, with more purpose and intelligence in their actions. Healers, the ancient dragon explained. They know. Crystal song helps with pain and healing. One of the healer dragons began making a low, musical sound that seemed to fill the entire chamber. The other dragons visibly relaxed as the sound washed over them. Lisa felt a strange tingling sensation and realized that the crystal walls were vibrating in harmony with the dragon's voice. Incredible, Nina Roberts whispered. They're using sound waves to create a healing effect. Ben Clark, the team's engineer, was studying the crystal formations on the walls. These crystals are amplifying and focusing the sound waves. It's like a natural acoustic healing system. But it's not enough, the ancient dragon said sadly. Crystal song helps pain, but cannot remove bad teeth. We tried for many seasons. Many seasons of pain, Lisa made her decision. We're going to help you, but I need to go back to the ship and prepare. Can you wait a few more days? We wait, the ancient dragon replied. We wait long time already. Few more days. We can wait. The journey back to the frontier took only 1 day since they were going downhill. Little One and several other young dragons came with them, excited to see the human ship and help with the preparations. Sam Wright, the ship's engineer, worked with Ben Clark to design larger versions of Lisa's dental tools. They used the ship's 3D printer to create forceps that could handle teeth the size of tree branches and scalers that could clean surfaces as big as dinner tables. The anesthetic is the tricky part, Lisa explained to Dr. Carol Lane, who had joined them from the ship's medical team. I need to calculate the right dosage for creatures that weigh tons instead of pounds. Carol helped Lisa run tests on tissue samples from the young dragons to determine the right chemical balance. The good news is that their biology responds well to our medicines. The bad news is that we'll need a lot more of everything. Meanwhile, the young dragons were proving to be incredibly helpful. They watched everything the humans did and seemed to understand the purpose behind each tool and procedure. When Lisa showed them how the anesthetic worked, they made excited sounds and ran around the ship, clearly eager to share the news with their elders. They're learning fast, Jake Collins observed. It's like they're studying to become dental assistants. 3 days later, the team returned to the crystal chamber with their new equipment. The ancient dragon and the healers were waiting, along with a younger adult dragon who had volunteered to be the first patient. This is brave, Lisa told the volunteer. We'll be as careful as possible, but this is new for all of us. The volunteer dragon made a determined sound and settled down on a flat crystal platform that seemed designed for the purpose. The healer dragons positioned themselves around the chamber and began their crystal song, filling the air with harmonious vibrations that made everyone feel calmer. Lisa approached the dragon's mouth with her scaled-up tools. The infected teeth were even worse than she had expected. Some were completely rotten, others were cracked and bleeding. The smell was overwhelming, but she forced herself to focus on the work. Starting with the worst one, she announced, selecting a tooth that was black with infection. She injected the anesthetic carefully, using 10 times the amount she would use on a small dragon. The patient held perfectly still, trusting completely in her abilities. Carol Lane assisted by monitoring the dragon's vital signs with modified equipment. Heart rate is steady, breathing is normal. The anesthetic seems to be working. The extraction took over an hour. The infected tooth was massive and had roots that went deep into the dragon's jaw. Lisa had to work carefully to avoid damaging the surrounding tissue. Almost got it, she said, gripping the tooth with her giant forceps. One more pull. The tooth came free with a wet sound that echoed through the chamber. The other dragons made excited noises, and the patient let out a sound of pure relief. How does that feel? Lisa asked. The dragon moved its jaw experimentally, then made a sound that was clearly amazement. Pain gone, it said, its voice clearer than any dragon speech they had heard before. Pain gone, can think clear now." The change was immediate and dramatic. The dragon's eyes became brighter and more alert. It began speaking in longer sentences, its voice stronger and more confident. The pain was making it hard for them to think. Lisa realized, when we remove the infected teeth, we're not just healing their mouths, we're healing their minds. The healer dragons were fascinated by the procedure. They watched carefully as Lisa cleaned the extraction site and applied healing gel. When she was finished, they began their crystal song again. But this time the sound was different, more focused and intense. "They're accelerating the healing process," Carol observed, watching her monitors. "The tissue is regenerating 3 times faster than normal." Over the next several hours, the treated dragon showed remarkable improvement. Not only was the pain gone, but its ability to communicate increased dramatically. It began teaching Lisa and her team words in the dragon language, while learning more English words from them. "This is wonderful," the dragon said, its voice now clear and strong. "For first time in many seasons, I can think without pain. I can speak properly. I feel whole again." The ancient dragon approached, its eyes shining with hope. "You have given us great gift, small healers. Now we give gift to you." The dragon gestured with one massive claw toward the crystal walls. Suddenly, the entire chamber filled with new light as hidden crystal formations activated throughout the mountain. "We show you our knowledge," the ancient dragon said. "Crystal technology, healing songs, star maps. We share everything we know, equal trade between friends." Lisa looked around at the incredible display of technology and knowledge surrounding them. "This is amazing, but we don't need payment. We helped because it was the right thing to do." The ancient dragon made a sound that could only be described as laughter. "This is why we like humans. You heal first, ask for reward later. Very different from other species we have met." "Other species?" Commander Davis asked with interest. "Many species in galaxy," the ancient dragon explained. "Most come with weapons, demand things from us. You came with healing hands, offered help freely. This makes you special." As the day ended, Lisa began planning the treatment for more dragons. She had proven that the procedure could work on the larger creatures, and now she had willing assistants in the healer dragons who understood both the medical and crystal aspects of the healing process. "This is just the beginning," she told Rick Taylor as they prepared to return to their ship. "We're not just helping individual dragons anymore. We're helping restore an entire civilization." The treated dragon came to say goodbye, moving with energy and purpose that had been missing before. "Thank you, small healer Lisa. You give us back our minds, our voices, our future. We will never forget." As they walked back through the crystal tunnel, Lisa could hear the dragons behind them, making new sounds, songs of hope and celebration that echoed through the mountain and out into the night sky. 6 months later, Lisa stood in the great crystal chamber and watched dozens of dragons working together in ways that would have been impossible before. The chamber had been transformed into a combination medical center and research facility, where humans and dragons learn from each other every day. "Treatment number 215 complete," Carol Lane announced, cleaning her instruments after helping another dragon. "Patient is responding well to the procedure." The dragon they had just treated stretched its jaw and made happy sounds. "Thank you, healer Carol. The pain is gone, and I can sing properly again." It was amazing how much had changed. As more dragons received treatment, their entire society had begun to transform. Dragons who had been barely able to function due to pain were now creating art, building new structures, and sharing knowledge that had been locked away in their minds for generations. The crystal resonance technology alone could revolutionize human medicine. Ben Clark told Lisa as they watched dragon healers teaching human doctors how to use sound therapy. "But it's what we're learning about their culture that's really incredible. The dragons had been right about other species. Word of humanity's compassionate first contact had spread throughout the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Ships from a dozen different alien civilizations had arrived to see the humans who healed instead of conquered. Frank Hayes, who had been assigned as the first human ambassador to the dragons, was meeting with representatives from 3 different species that afternoon. "They all want to know how we established such a strong alliance so quickly," he told Lisa during a break between meetings. "We just helped someone who was hurting," Lisa replied. "It shouldn't be that unusual." "But it is," said Zara, one of the dragon healers who had become Lisa's closest friend among the large dragons. Zara's voice was clear and musical now that her teeth had been properly treated. "Most species see others as competition or resources. You saw us as patients who needed care." The alliance between humans and dragons had grown stronger every day. Human technology combined with dragon crystal healing had created medical advances that neither species could have achieved alone. Dragon knowledge of space travel and galactic politics had helped humanity understand their place in the larger universe. "The Galactic Council wants to meet with us," Mary Green, the cultural liaison, reported during their weekly briefing. "Apparently, they've never seen a first contact situation develop this way before." Commander Tony Shaw, who had replaced Pete Davis as the mission leader, reviewed the reports. "The dragons have been our advocates with other species. Their word carries a lot of weight in galactic politics." This was true. The dragons were one of the oldest species in the galaxy, and their crystal technology was highly advanced. Other civilizations had tried for centuries to establish trade relationships with them, but the dragons had been too affected by their medical condition to engage properly with outsiders. "Now that we can think clearly again, we remember much that was forgotten," the ancient dragon explained to a gathering of human and alien diplomats. "We remember which species can be trusted and which cannot. Humans can be trusted." The change in individual dragons was just as remarkable as the change in their society. Little One, who was now known by his real name Sky Whisper, had grown larger and was learning to use tools with incredible skill. He often worked alongside human engineers, helping to adapt dragon technology for human use. "Lisa, come see this," Rick Taylor called from across the chamber. He was working with a group of young dragons who were experimenting with a new type of crystal formation. "We figured out how to grow healing crystals that work with human biology," one of the young dragons explained excitedly. "Now humans can use crystal song therapy too." Lisa watched as Rick held a small crystal that glowed softly in his hand. When the dragon sang a specific tone, the crystal amplified the healing vibrations in a way that reduced Rick's chronic back pain. "This could help millions of people," Lisa said in wonder. "It's a gift," the young dragon replied. "Humans gave us back our minds. We want to give humans better healing." The collaboration between species had attracted attention from across the galaxy. Scientists, diplomats, and healers from dozens of worlds came to study what they were calling the Healing Alliance. Most first contact situations involve conflict or difficult negotiations, explained Dr. Kelleth, a representative from the Galactic Medical Council. "This is the first time we've seen 2 species bond over medicine and mutual aid." The dragons had also shared their knowledge of other species in the galaxy. Some were peaceful and interested in trade and friendship. Others were aggressive and had caused problems for many worlds. "The Vorthan Empire has been expanding aggressively," Zara told the human diplomats during the security briefing. "They believe in conquest through force, but they have not approached dragon space because they know we have strong defenses. Now that we're allied with the dragons, we're under their protection too," Frank Hayes realized. "Other species will think twice before threatening us." This protection had already proven valuable. 3 different aggressive species had approached human space in the past month, but all had turned away when they detected dragon technology on human ships. "It's not just about protection," the ancient dragon explained. Humans have something special. You approach others with healing instead of harm. This is rare in Galaxy. This makes you valuable as mediators and peacekeepers. Lisa found herself thinking about how everything had started with one small creature in pain. If someone had told me that pulling a tooth from a little dragon would lead to galactic diplomacy, I never would have believed them. The galaxy needs healers, Sky Whisper said, his voice now strong and clear. Too many species think only of taking. Humans think of giving. This is why others will trust you. As the months passed, more species began approaching humanity for help with various problems. Some needed medical assistance, others wanted help resolving conflicts with neighbors, and still others were interested in learning human approaches to cooperation and alliance building. We're becoming known as the species that helps, Mary Green observed during a diplomatic briefing. Other civilizations are starting to call us when they need problems solved peacefully. The Dragon Alliance had given humanity access to technology and knowledge that would have taken centuries to develop on their own. But more importantly, it had established humanity's reputation as a species that could be trusted. The galaxy is a dangerous place, the ancient dragon told Lisa during one of their regular conversations. Many species survive through strength or cunning, but humans will survive through friendship. You make allies instead of enemies. Lisa looked around the crystal chamber, now filled with humans and dragons working together on projects that benefited both species. Young dragons played with human children who had come with their parents. Scientists from both species shared discoveries and celebrated breakthroughs together. This is what the future should look like, she said. Different species working together, helping each other, sharing knowledge. This is what the future will look like, the ancient dragon replied confidently. Because humans will help make it so. You showed us that healing is more powerful than hurting. Now we will show others. Outside the Crystal Mountain, ships from a dozen worlds waited to meet with the Human Dragon Alliance. Each one represented a new opportunity for peaceful contact, trade, and friendship. Lisa smiled as she watched Sky Whisper demonstrate crystal technology to a group of young human engineers. The little creature she had helped on that first day had grown into a bridge between two civilizations. And that bridge was just the beginning of something much larger. The galaxy was vast and full of different species with different needs and problems. But now it also had humans, and humans knew how to heal. That, Lisa thought, might make all the difference